My prayer in my heart is that you might able to understand me. After 1 year, I complete 1 year yesterday in Peru of speaking Spanish. I published my Spanish to the streams. My membership over there is 2,890 members. My church board, there are 74 people. Out of those 74, 40 are pastors, scholars, PhDs in theology. So it was a good exercise where people do not expect from me to make any spelling mistake. And I think my kids today, they speak and write Spanish very well. The other language that we use, because we belong to the South American division, where the headquarters is in Brasilia, is Portuguese. So I have participated in a couple of congresses there. They also expect a clean language. So after 1 year not speaking English as I wish, so this is a challenge. But I need to tell you that I'm happy to see what I'm seeing this morning. I think this is the church that will be end the world. The work here has to be finished soon so Jesus come back. It's not going to be leading by pastors. It's going to be finish the work by who? By the members. And that is a reality. Well, let me give you a report before I start. I want you to hear from me. Then you're going to find it out from the streets, the Adventist streets. It is amazing how the Adventist people communicate stuff. I wish we preach the same way. When a denominational call is placed for someone, somehow in the other world knows about it. In my church, I got a problem that I need to share with you for the reason that I need your prayers. When I went to Peru, I got a task to finish. They gave me 3 years to finish. And by the glory of God, I need to tell you that God has done in 10 months. So I don't have to there, and I don't have to be there anymore. That is the bad part for them. We baptized last year. Usually they baptize 135 people. We baptized 245. The tide increased, which is very difficult over there. It went up 31%. We collect, or the church collect, $1 million for the project. I told them 7 months ago, I want to see the building. We have to start the building. They say, there is not enough money. Things doesn't work that way. They didn't listen to me. And I told them, I'm going to just wait for you until December. If you don't do it, find somebody else. Well, 2 days ago, I sent my note telling, it's better for you to find somebody else because I'm leaving. I prayed with my wife consistently 1 month. And watch what you pray. I asked the Lord, let me know if my job here has finished so I can move on. Because there is nothing more beautiful to follow Jesus' will. There is nothing like that. So I asked the Lord, send me, this is really impossible today, but I like the impossible things. It's when we start McKinney, he says, don't do that because look at the mirror, you're Spanish, look, you're English, it's impossible for you. But I like the impossible things. Because God is international. God talks to your heart, like he's going to be talking today. This is my announcement only, it's not the sermon. And I asked the Lord, please send me 5 calls, denominational calls, and I will know then it's time to leave. The only thing I did in the morning was in November. I called the North American Division just to tell them that I was willing to go back. No asking any specific place, although my heart is here. But I cannot twist God's will. No? That was at 9 o'clock in the morning. By 2 o'clock in the afternoon, same day, I received an email saying, Pastor, we passed your name across the nation, and you have 5 calls. And I got another 3 additional calls in South America. But I say no. Out of those 5 calls, we considered 4, and that's where I came this week. I got one call. There's a project of the General Conference. It's to resurrect an English church and plant another one, to have 2 churches. I was so surprised that they looked at me. So I went to check it out. But the president itself has some question marks. He says, let's do it as an interim. It's fine. But he got surprised. I went to the process to have a special committee to check, to evaluate, the vetting committee, to check the pastor, to present to the church board. I went there. I said to them, I'm not a Superman. I was preaching last Sabbath. To solve your problems. And I delivered the message. I looked at the eyes of the president, was sitting in there. And he was about to cry. He was moving. I got the approval next day from the meeting committee. The following day, I have the approval for the church board. And then I told them I had to pray, because I am the one, I'm not sure. But I've been praying for Indiana. There's a Fort Wayne, Indiana, 15 hours and 54 minutes driving from here. Frozen place. When I got there, it was minus 23. I never been in a place like that. Coming from the summer. The only thing I can guarantee that's not going to happen is probably the germs are not there anymore. And then I got 3 more calls in California, Northern California, and Southern California, and Southeastern California. I went to interview all this week, was very exhausted. And so my prayer for you is to choose the one. And you ask, why not McKinney? When I need to tell you, you guys was my first choice. And I asked the conference office. And I realized that they have a special policy that I was not aware. I had to complete 2 years outside so I can come back. So I think my friend Pastor Craig crucified himself with his own policy. But I'm going back. I had to serve until February 2015 before I can come back. But if you want me here, if you still want me here, which I don't know, you need to start praying. But in the meantime, I'm going to my English school in Fort Wayne. I think that's going to be the direction. It's an English church. And you guys were my church 13 that we plant here in Texas. I plant another one in Peru. Although it was big, we have to plant it. We plant my church 14. But out of all these churches, I really enjoy to have an English church. It's a different environment. So I'm going to prepare more myself over there. We have a school. This almost has challenges, but I think they just need a direction. So I want to try for 1 year. And what I'm going to recommend for you while I'm away from here is to continue fishing the people that we need to bring to the law. If you want to grow, you have to work. And that is my topic today. And because I want to come back and I want to the finance going up so the conference cannot say anything, I like to set the evangelism. I love to tell the story. I love to tell the story. I was the other day at an airport, was going to another place, and waiting for my flight, I saw a soccer team. And as you know, I don't pay too much attention. I am Spanish, but I don't care about soccer. I don't know the Peruvians over there, they really love soccer. They know every single team in the world. They know the players by name. They try to get an autograph if they can. But it's not me. I saw the national team in front of me. It was a coincidence. I was normal. I was acting normal. We went inside of the plane, and when we were in our way, after 45 minutes, the coach came to my place. You know, I was preparing my sermon. I was finishing my sermon. I was ready to an evangelistic crusade, so I don't have time for anything. Just thinking how many people are going to deliver the message to touch their heart. You know, when you are here, you want to touch the people's heart. When you are at home, you need to touch your own kid's heart. When you are outside, you need to touch every single people that cross around McKinney or wherever you live. That should be the motivation. So I was thinking about my sermon. He came next to me. I never see that coach in my life. I realized he was the coach because he says in here. Yeah. I am a professional coach myself, but on church planting. And I have my T-shirt like yesterday I was wearing from California. You know, I put in purpose because really California needs mercy on them. I see so many corruption in my life like never before. I have an interview with the La Sierra University that they really want me, besides the Southeastern. And I was talking with the vice president there in the interview. Oh, but after I see what I saw, I said, this can be not my place. But we are living in the last days. So the coach came to me, and he says to me, the sir in the back have sent me to talk to you. And I was not paying attention, saying, okay, I will talk to him later. And then he's still there. And he says, the sir talked to me, came to you, so you're going to tell me about the Bible. And I said, look at him. Really, who is the sir? Let me look at the sir. I look in the back, was nothing. And I was not catching, I was not catching the idea. He was referring the Lord. He coming from another group, charismatic, they use that phrases. And he said, really? The Lord? And I said to him, well, okay, the Lord has sent to me to finish with you whatever you need to finish in the Bible? He said, yes. Okay, sit with me. And I stopped with my sermon. And I explained about Christ. And I explained what was his mission, what was his purpose. About the Sabbath. And he opened his eyes. The flight was 2 hours and a half. When we were about to landing, he surrendered his life to Christ. He made me cry too, because he started crying. When we end, we still talking. The TV station came and get people, many people came around him. So he was so popular. I was not aware of that. I was next to him when the pastor came to pick me up from the airport. And I said to him, look what I know, because he gave me his card. I said, really? You know him? Please go back and introduce me to him. So we went back. I introduced, not for an autograph, I introduced him so he can continue a Bible class with him. I need to tell you that today he's an Adventist person, baptized 7 months after that appointment. So everyone has a divine appointment with someone. So you don't have to lose those particular moments. So I love to tell the story. Present a biblical message always brings me happiness. And I would like to start my meditation today asking you some questions. What are your feelings about evangelism here in McKinney? Many people have asked me before why you have that idea to have a McKinney church. Well, when I was working in my Japanese company here in McKinney, years ago, in the late 80s, there were no Adventist church here at all. And I decided to myself, I promised to the Lord, before I leave, I have to have a McKinney church. Just because nobody thought about it. And what are your feelings about sharing Christ? Sharing about a denomination is one thing. But sharing about Christ is something different, It touches people's heart. If you don't believe me, go to the ICU and the hospital. Go to a funeral home. Go to cemetery. And you will see. So what are your feelings about sharing Christ with others? Perhaps there is someone here who has never shared Christ. So he does not understand about this. When Jesus Christ was sent here, he made a difference. People could see his real interest. People could see the heart. The Fort Wayne church told me in an email, it says, our congregation have seen you preaching, but they see that you preach with love. And that made a difference. They don't care about the accent. Many years preaching as scholars without love. So I think, because we need too much scholarly people, Andrew's seminary could finish that job long time ago. And I'm not criticizing because I'm going to be doing my doctorate this year. Finally, I finished my Master of Divinity. I'm going to be starting my doctorate. And I don't have to live there anymore. I complete my 76 credits hours. So I'm ready. But what are your feelings about sharing Christ with others? What is your dream, your vision about the church? Still the church that we plant? Allow me to share with you what was the Apostle Paul's, when he wrote Romans 1:14 to the 16. And I have always liked these verses because it's deep in knowledge. Romans chapter 1, verse 14 to 16. I forgot to ask when I need to finish, how many minutes I have. I didn't ask, you know. I was so excited I didn't ask Walton or Sephrin when I should finish. Verse 14. You're my boss, man. I'm watching you. You have to do something, that sign, so I can think. Because now I had to forget some habits, you know. Now I'm living in Peru, I developed some driving habits I need to forget. The other day, after I come back and I was in Indiana, I ran a car, and as soon as I know I was in the wrong direction on a highway. So I have to forget some habits I have. And another habit is to preach long, because the university, they not allow me to preach 35 minutes. They like long sermons. It says, verse 14, I am obligated. My NIV version says, I am obligated. And this is a word that nobody likes. Or perhaps there is someone they like to be obligated in this church, or do something obligated. We don't like that. It says here, I am obligated, both Greeks and no Greeks. It could say, Americans and no Americans, Africans and Spanish, wherever, both the wise and the foolish. That is why I'm so eager to preach the gospel also to you who are at Rome. When this verse was written, was not happy to be in Rome if you were a Christian. I know ashamed for the gospel, because it is power. What it is? Power. The original word for power is dunamis, which means explosion. So that means wherever you are, whatever you do, you have to make an explosion for Christ, because it is power of God for the salvation of everyone who believes, first to the Jew, then to the Gentile. So today, I like to declare that Jesus is my Lord. And I love to tell the story. I love to tell the story. It is my privilege to talk to you about him today. I want you to see Christ, to get a picture of Jesus in our meditation today. It happened one Thursday night when I discovered that I got only 7 days more to live. And that is my main reason that I am a pastor today. It is not because I don't have anything to do. I spent 14 years in engineering, marketing, and telecommunications, especially here in McKinney, making cellular phones. I was trained to perform the acoustics for that company, 14 years. I was a manager. It cost me big 14 years to get that position. And I was traveling. In 1997, I traveled in 32 countries. And I don't know what exactly happened to my health, to my immune system. But the virus came to my body and it started eating me. I was getting weak. I was outside. I was in Mexico at the time. In a special meeting, we were planting a factory. We planted 2 factories. I think God used that special training for planting churches later on. And I noticed my feet were getting big and big. Finally, I couldn't put my shoes on. Then I couldn't not even walk. So I called the company to say I cannot walk anymore. They came to see me. They flew me back to the States. I came here and I visit all the doctor's office, and every single one have a different results, different opinions. You know, it's so different when you are dying from something specific than you are dying from something that you don't know. At that point, I just need to know. I really want to know what is killing me. What is the name? What is the treatment? So, when they were not doing anything, and I realized how hard it's for a doctor to tell you, sorry, but I don't understand what's going on. It's hard, it's too much proud, no? So I ended up with 13 diagnoses. So finally I say, if I'm going to die, I'm going to the Adventist hospital at least. So I went to the Hughley Hospital by then. At the time they changed the name, I understand now. And I got a Dr. Hapas, Carlos Hapas. It's an Adventist doctor. He's internal medicine doctor. And he was the only one. He says to me, I don't know what you have, but we're going to pray about it. So I was taken there to the hospital. They did an exams, and we were praying every single visit. And I remember Carlos Hapas told me, you are very young. He knew that it was getting worse every day. And I can feel it. But one Sunday morning, I wake up in my house here in McKinney. I didn't have children, but I have my wife. And I told Celia, I want you to get a piece of paper. I want to write down the things that you're going to do before I'm passing away, because I got a certainty that I'm going to be dying in 7 days. I was clear. I don't know who mentioned to me, but I was clear. And I asked my wife, also, I want to record my own funeral message, because I need to tell the people they're going to be in my funeral. By that time, I had a special covenant with the Lord. For every single money that I receive, I invest in a new church. And I was feeling that I feel that I has been doing my part. The devil I think that he was confusing me. But by then, I need God. So when I was dictating into my wife a piece of paper what to do, I listen my own voice. I'm not here to tell you that I listen God's voice, but I listen my own voice. But I know it's God. I listen myself saying, but if you want to live, you need to surrender everything that you have and come to work as a pastor. Man, I was about to die. I didn't have any other option. And I said to the Lord, okay, let's do it. And I said now I laugh as well, but I said to the Lord, I do it. I quit my job if you want me to be your minister. And remember, I wanted to be a minister since I was 15 years old. So, even when I got married, I told my wife, she was about to sign the piece of paper of my marriage license. And I said to her, stop. I forgot one thing. I said to her, even the mayor was there, he got so surprised. I said, I forgot about the mayor, and I explained it because I forgot the most important thing too. I knew she loved me, I love her, but I forgot to ask one thing. I said to her, I am an engineer, but remember, what I want to be in life is a pastor. So if you marry me, think about it. And she says, go ahead. I am with you. So we sign. So when I changed from engineering to minister, it was not a problem for me. And because when you are a minister, you cannot have anybody else as a wife. Has to be special. So when I fulfilled my promise, I went back. I was counting. I never count a day, 20, almost a minute, 7 days. I knew in 7 days, I have the confidence, I trust that 7 days are going to be cured. The 7th day arrived. I don't think I slept that day. But when it was about 5 o'clock in the morning, I was so tired and went to sleep. I wake up around 10:30 in the morning. And I wake up with a big eyes like the Volkswagen lights, big. And I said to myself, I am cured. By that time, I couldn't walk anymore. But I get up from the bed by myself and walk. When Celia saw me walking, she cried. And I said, Celia, I'm going to be a minister. The hiring process, all the paper, by that time, I needed to have 6 more classes to finish. But I said, okay, it's your problem. That's not my problem. You hire me, so that's it. And fair enough, I entered ministry in a different way. Before I finished my class number 6 or 7, I received a call from the conference office there giving me the job. That is the miracle. From that day until now, that is the reason that I am a minister, because he called me. And I am alive. And I am alive because he has a purpose in me. If you are alive today, you got a purpose. I gave my life to Jesus, really. I am 2nd generation Adventist. My nieces are 3rd generation Adventist, but I am the 2nd. But I didn't know God. I didn't know Jesus. I gave my life to Jesus. And he is my Lord, my God. So, serving Jesus is the most wonderful thing that happened to me. However, it has certain obligations. I feel like Paul when he says, I feel obligated to all people because Jesus made a difference in my life. You see, I met Jesus in my most critical point in my life. Don't think that when you are in the lowest, it is too late. Maybe Jesus coming to rescue. Because he works like that way. Jesus made the difference in my life. And my response, like the Apostle Paul, is that I feel obligated to all people. To all people, whether they speak Spanish, English, Portuguese, to all people who live in America, in Asia, or Africa, to people who live next to me, to people who work down the hall from me. I am obligated to them because what Jesus has done for me. So we have to have a clear thought that what Jesus has done for you. Everywhere I go, there are people who need to know Jesus. And I am obligated to them. You know, I got this big Bible because I could have my iPad, my phone with me, but nothing is compared like the Bible because of this. It's handy, I know that. But everybody has an iPhone. Everybody has an iPad or tablet. And so nobody knows that you are reading the Bible. Nobody knows that you're reading something secret. So I get my Bible, I put it in my nose like this and sharing. And I look at me, when I look at them. Or when I'm sitting next to someone and they are reading the Bible, I know this is a religious person or someone who wants to know Jesus, but basically I do this question. It is in the Bible. It's in Acts 8. I ask them, do you understand what you read? Ask that. Ask. I guarantee you, because I've been doing the last 6 years, I guarantee you, if you ask someone who's reading the Bible, do you understand what you read? Oh, he will say, oh, what? Permit? Permit? I ask them, are you giving your permission? If you ask that question, I can guarantee you there's going to be a new Bible study for you. Because when you open the Word, it never returns empty. My brothers and sisters, what we have is too good to keep it to ourselves. It's too good. Jesus is alive. The Holy Spirit is real. You are seeing Him alive. Every single person who goes to the mission field is almost impossible to come back. You know, that's the number question when they go to as a missionary. Can I come back? You know this already. Look what I handed out. I cannot come back to my place that I want to be. But God opened all the doors because God is who's behind you. You know the story that happened here in Dallas when I ministered those probably already 16 years ago. The churches that we plant, the 13 churches, the baptism that we got, only God can do that. In McKinney English Church, they need to start thinking where, here, or where we're going to purchase a church. It's about to start. Because when I'm coming back, I like to have a church. 13 times we have done that process with my broken Spanish, with all the things that we have. God has provided the money. You don't have a problem with immigration, so there is not a problem. There is not a problem because of salary. So I want to be working from now on. I'm going to be praying that God already, you know, you need to know, God already select a particular place for us, you know. We need to believe it. And what is your heart need to be your money next to. So do you have a dream for this church? My dream is to see Jesus soon. But love must be demonstrated. I remember clearly the day when I went to ask my wife's family's permission to marry her. Before that day, I thought I know everything. Their only daughter and 8 brothers. One of his brothers are here. He has 6 brothers. I sweat a lot that day. And for a moment, I wondered if I had been paralyzed. Many Seventh-day Adventists appear to be paralyzed. Many people say, I love Jesus, but nothing else happened. We must tell people, do something, but love must be demonstrated. We cannot simply come to church and say, oh, I love Jesus, and that's all. We must tell people that Jesus is coming soon. The sign of the Waldensian Museum, I visited a Waldensian Museum once, and I was happy to visit, I had to take pictures, but it was a sign in the entrance that really attracted me. I forgot about everything else. The sign says, if you are not a missionary, then you are nothing at all. Think about it. If you are not a missionary, then you are not nothing at all. Thank you. I got a friend that met a professor recently over there. He was not a Seventh-day Adventist, but he was a Christian. One day, he asked him, at the university, does it cause you trouble because you are a Christian? And he told my friend something that really surprised me. He says, so far as I know, says the professor, no one person knows that I am a Christian. I told my friend, so far as I know, he was no one. Because love must be told, must be demonstrated. Our love for him must be told. We must tell people of the coming of the Lord. Believe me, Jesus is coming soon. The other day I was going to, I decided, my wife says, sooner or later you have to be in the streets in Lima by yourself, because I always have people to scold me. And I decided to go one night. I went by myself, like 30 years ago. My secretary says, Pastor, I'm going to be with you to the first stop. The second stop, you're going to do it by yourself. So we went to a 20 minutes drive in a bus. And we went down and was ready to take another bus. The bus was empty. It was the bus station. And my secretary says, now go to the mission field, she says, and go by yourself. I was going to my city in Trujillo, but I was, really what happened is that I was the last person to schedule my taxi transportation to the place that I was going. So when I realized that there was a list to sign my name, it was too late. So I needed to go by myself. When I took the other bus, I saw my secretary going. I said, oh, why she cannot take me to the other stop? But she left. Because she listened to me a sermon and says, now I want to see you. So I went to the second bus by myself. 10 minutes after, I was not looking for something like that, by the way, but 10 minutes after, I only saw in movies, I never see in reality in front of me, never in my life. Gentleman came and get out from his pocket a knife, and they stick the knife with somebody else like this, boom, boom. And I was looking at like this. His wife was cheating him. It was something catastrophe happening there. See how wild it is. That's what I know. Jesus is coming soon. We are obligated to people about Jesus. This is not, listen very careful, this is not about the right day of worship. This is not a correct mathematic of 2,300 days. This is about This is a story about Jesus. One person called me when we established a church once. He's the pastor. I got a wonderful series to preach in your new church. Please allow me to come. And I said, like anybody will say, what is the topic? And he says, Pastor, I will preach about the devil. Really? And I said to him, think something else, because we already know too much about the devil. Feed people with Jesus. If you do this is no entertainment. All the church people, they want to grow. All of them, they were doing entertainment church service, are collapsing in the Adventist church. We have a message. Paul says, from now on, I will talk only about Jesus. And when you want to witness about Jesus. Love must be demonstrated. In this building, we don't see 100 people. What we see is this church is filled, what I hope is an evangelist. Each of you. How you earn a living is not what we are talking about. In fact, you are an evangelist is what we are discussing. Are you willing to go beyond what your comfort and bring people to Jesus? I'd like to invite you to serve the Lord, to continue to serve your Lord with your entire heart as an evangelist. I want to pray for you. I want to pray that God will bless you this week with someone else. If everyone here, look at this. This is, you don't have to be a scientist. Or like yesterday, I was talking with someone about the proton scientists. There are people thinking that way. But if you bring someone, if you introduce to Jesus Christ this year, next year we will be 200. As simple as it is. If we with 200 people, we can do anything. You can call me one day and say, Pastor, where do you want the church to be by? And I will tell you. Has to be Virginia Street. I need to tell you that I'm praying about this Virginia Street for more than 1 year. All the year I was away from you. I was thinking about this church. And I'm praying about God has to give us a church here on Virginia Street. Why? Because this is God's church, first. Secondly, it's not about money. It is not about money. Although we're living in the most powerful capitalism system. I was reading yesterday the new book of Ben Carson, the first one to be published with the famous Sonderban publishers. There is a milestone there, because Sonderban do not publish any author who is Adventist, but he broke the rule for him. And he says, we are living under the capitalism. Everybody only thinks to make money. Like money is God. But if God give us this, it's because he have something bigger to give us. And if you want this church to be purchased, he can make it. I remember one time when we went to the Richardson Spanish church, we were renting. And I told the pastor, I don't know why. I was with Tom Evans next to me. And I went to ask for renting the place. And I said to him, hey, I'm here to rent. But I say, I'm here to purchase. And Tom says to me, how in the world you want to purchase? You don't have any money. That's not my problem. And then 3 weeks after, we purchased this church. God is real. It cannot stay in a written book. It's real. Everything who's written here, it's alive. You have to ask the Lord that these words become real in your life. And this is my prayer for you. He asks you, when he asks you to witness, he asks you to witness in the way that you can witness. And don't confuse. I'm not asking you to be an evangelist like me or somebody else or like Mark Finley. No, he asks you to witness in the way that you can witness. But love must be demonstrated. But Jesus will not ask you something that it is impossible to do. Anything that he asks you to do, he will give you the power to do it. I met one lady a month ago. Her sister is here. Forgot your name. Isolina's sister is Irasi. She got a sister who works in the South American division as a secretary. She came to visit Peru. And I said to her, you know, I like to marry people, you know? You know, if you don't know, now you know. If you are a single, you talk to me. I like to match people. And the lady, in the beginning, she says, I don't need to be married. I'm happy with my life like that. I know that story. Even though they say something like that, there is another reality in the back. Well, as a pastor, I listen to the whole thing. It's okay. So enter from here, get out from here. If you want to be a sound pastor, a healthy pastor, sometimes you have to pull it out. But Isolina says to me, your sister says to me, oh, I'm happy with my life. Okay, but it looks nice lady. And we found a candidate. She crossed my path, really, because she came to my city. I was for Christmas in my father's town. And gentleman we find for her. We talked too much about him, too much every single day. Almost I was introduced to the city, and every single time we talked to Isolina, we talk about this guy. And after probably 8 days passed, and she was in love. Before she officially talked to him. See? But think about it. If we share that about Jesus, people will immediately get connected with Jesus. And because we did that, she got some questions about the gentleman that she didn't really know it. And I said to Solina, I said to myself, I'm in trouble. I had to go back. I was already in Lima. Isolina was in my home. We still continue talking. My wife says, what you have done? She's already in love. I said, well, we have to let him know that she's in love. So I went. That's what I got. The day that I was going to that, in that bus, and I saw what I saw, and because it was in my way to help Isolina. Isolina is from Brazil, nothing to do with me. But she have a need. I went to over there. I talked to the guy, say, hey, I went in a bus 8 hours. I said, I only do this for you. And I said to the, hey, you know what happened? This is the most beautiful thing. He was a close friend of my dad. He didn't see my dad for 47 years. So we have a meeting, we introduced to each other, it was really nice. And I find it out. And now I understand why I like to plant churches, because my father and this candidate plant the Palermo church in my town. He is the one who told me. My father already forgot about it, he never mentioned to me. But I introduced Isolina to Erasto, pray for Erasto. I said, Erasto, there is Isolina, and you need to marry her. Erasto opened his eyes like that. He's a biologist. He said, what you say, Pastor? Erasto, you have a 73 years old, And I don't want you to think about it. I just came from far away. I am a pastor, just by the way, you don't think I am crazy. But you're going to get married. This is the best lady I ever see. So be prepared. That was my message. I preached in his church in the afternoon. And I went back to Lima. I talked to Isolina. Isolina, everything is ready for you. Her sister is here. She can tell you. She's totally in love. And he's getting to the same motion. We solve a life problem issue with love. What I want to get the picture is this. People need love. People need Christ. If we become a church that we share the love, people will come more and more. Plus, if you do your work, one more to Jesus. Let's pray about it. Dear Heavenly Father, we are here. We thank you, Father, for the opportunity to be in my church. You know this is the church I love. But you are sending me to someone else, another place, to prepare, to polish me, to see a challenge, to see your power. But please bring me back. While I'm away, I don't know if it's going to be 1 year or more, but you know. Bring me back when they need me the most. Prepare us a church for us. We want to buy a place. You have the money. Please deliver all the resources so we can conquer. In your name. Bless my people here. In Jesus' name, amen.